I am going to shape my third surfboard ever. So I am definitely a beginner at this. I thought my first two boards went really well, but I definitely learned some stuff along the way. I'm gonna glass it too, and I definitely learned some stuff about glassing. But anyways, I was gonna put this on video, and then hopefully, if you're shaping your first board, you could at least learn something from this. But anyways, these blanks I got a couple days ago. They are $65 a piece. I have no idea if that's a good deal, but yeah. First step first, we're obviously going to trace the board to the template that we want. My first very important piece of advice is do not try to freehand a board that you think you want. If you freehand it, it's going to come out weird looking, it's going to be asymmetrical. You really need to get a template from somewhere. So whether or not that's just actually tracing another board or actually finding somebody that has a template, if you don't have either, if you want to design a board that you don't already have and you don't know people that have templates for designing boards, I strongly recommend Greenlight Surf Supply. I think it's greenlightsurfsupply.com. You can download these templates onto a PDF file, and they're basically just like a bunch of pieces of paper. They look like this. So like this is just a bunch of regular letter-sized pieces of paper, and you put them together and the lines match up, and you got the template that you need. It's only half the board, so you put it down, tape it to the stringer on one side, then flip it over and do it to the other side. This one right here, I actually did myself in AutoCAD. It's real similar to a lost short round. I changed it a little bit. For the most part, it's a lost short round. So this will be the first step. I've got my template, I've taped it all together. I'm good to go. I'll tape this down, trace it, flip it, trace the other side, and then we'll cut it out. But yeah, that's the first step. So again, find a template somehow, some way. Definitely do not try to freehand. So yeah. Next up, I'm going to cut the template out. I have the outline that I want, and I'm going to cut it out with this. One thing to note here, the first time I cut one of these out, I got too close to the line, and once you go in, there's no going back, and it was just a big goof. So my piece of advice for this, after messing up once, is stay outside the blue line, and then you can sand it or plane it down later. But I would cut it and have the blue line exposed, or line exposed the entire time. The way I trace this thing is the inside of the line is actually the shape. So if I leave the blue all the way around, I should be good. Another piece of advice is it is really hard to cut like this. For whatever reason, the foam just doesn't cut very well. It'll get stuck on the blade. But if you're going straight up and down like this, it's 10 times easier and it goes 10 times smoother. So what I do, especially because I'm short, is I got this stool and I'll cut it this way. So I'll give it a go. This thing out. I left a good bit of the blue line plus more just to be safe. Next up, I need to get it down exactly to the inside of the blue line, and to do that, I'm going to use this rasp planer. I mean, you can get these things at the hardware store for 15 bucks at the most, and it really does well to get the foam down to precisely where you need it. And then if you really want to get down, you can use some sandpaper, but this will suffice. Also, now is the time that I start wearing a mask, just because you're going to get so much airborne dust from the foam. So I highly recommend putting a mask on so you're not breathing it in. And we will give it a go. So when you use this thing, you can kind of go diagonal. You don't have to run it like this. In fact, it's actually better to run it at an angle and then just really eats away at the foam. I got almost a quarter inch to go, so this thing does a good job at really bringing it down to where it needs to be. If it was sandpaper, it would take forever. So this is a really valuable tool when you need to get down to where you want to. So long strokes like this. Everything you do when you shape a board, do it nice and long, even strokes. And I'll keep doing this until it gets down to exactly where I need it, and then I'll work on this side of the board and work all the way around. Very simple. You can take your time with it, so there's no risk of going past where you want to go, and you can just see it slowly getting to where it needs to be. All right. That's it.